one of the more ancient, I would almost say, legendary, grandeur, senior brands or organizations within the collegiate esports team. Currently, their roster consisting, at least the starting lineup, of King, Tree, Dante, Squid, and Vision, all of whom's names are known across the Overwatch space. They are coming in here stacked, ready, and roaring to go. And with their 3-1 victory last time, they must feel confident.
Yeah, they're currently looking the favorites to take it all. I mean, which insane mechanical prowess, very fast playmaking, very fast decision making. Maryville are certainly the team to beat across the entirety of collegiate Overwatch, not just here at NECC. Their challengers today, Fisher Wisps, who come in on the back of their brain power, Classy. It's not so much mechanical prowess like we see out of King and Tree, but it's incredible planning and strategy that has carried Fisher Wisps this far.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, we always keep referencing it, but they have a very large talent pool to pick from that they're also able to internally play with a lot. It is no surprise to maybe a lot of people, might be to you, but it's not a surprise to a lot of people that Fisher has two teams in the top.
From the top two seeds. Can Fisher Wisps rise up and take this cup away from Maryville University?
Yeah, it's the one we're all waiting for. And you know what? We haven't even actually considered this, but since the last time they played, there's been a patch as well, so the balance is slightly different. Like, Doomfist is better now, and Dante was already doing really well on Doomfist, but the same thing goes for Ramatra. So like all these matchups again, like even that is already a huge change in the way that these teams might approach it, because while other divisions might be not bothered by the meta as much, this is like the top echelon of Overwatch. These guys will care about the micro changes.
I don't underestimate that increased damage on Ramatra's primary fire, the long range damage from the staff. My goodness, it'll catch you off guard in a hurry. Just that added little bit kind of broke some breakpoints.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've seen Dante use the meteor strike as an escape as well. This time, might have to use it as an escape anymore. Right now, Rocket definitely doesn't worry about doing it as an escape because Squid's already taken them out.
And I don't know if Rocket tried to just sneak in and find a flank angle, but the rest of Fisher are still just camped up on this high ground. All the while, Maryville are building up percentage. Riker tried to go in a sleep dart. Suzu has to be used to get them back to safety.
I'm looking for a little bit of an opening there. Is Rocket going after the back line. Both the Sojourn and the Ana sitting in the corner. Lukewarm getting anti though.
Nice anti, yeah. And Tree will find that final blow, but Dante goes down. This is the best option Fisher Wisps have had yet to move on to this objective. Grapes finds King. Rocket was doing some good harassment in the back line. Fisher Wisps managed to flip this point right on over. We're going to go clean up the exit picks now.
Squid.
No way. Vision throws it out. Vision gets taken out for their trouble, but Squid is still here alive. Even pops the Transcendence. They don't have control of point anymore, Classy.
No, but this is one of those fights where they think it's still winnable, and it looks like it might very well be when Dante comes back and True takes another one out as well. The stick onto Riker goes down to barely any HP. Will stay alive a little bit longer with the block, but they're just stalling for percentage.
Rocket managed to pick up two while all of that was going on. Now a rally up here. Tree is fortunate to stay alive through that. No, the stun, the whip flail. Graves keeps Fisher Wisps in control.
I'm sorry, I thought they nerfed that whip shot damage, but I guess not enough. I mean, they went from 70 to 60 to be fair. Like, it was, it's not a giant nerf, and those health bars were still low enough. But yeah, I mean, you thought Brigitte did a little bit less to those backline flankers like Tracer. Everything has been put up for Tracer to succeed a little bit more in this meta. She does more damage, and she has less Brigitte damage to worry about, but so far, Brigitte's still reigning supreme.
Grapes and the rest of Fisher back on their very comfortable high ground where they started this whole map off, and now it's become an advantage, but Grapes goes down. That advantage is suddenly lost. Dante looking to move on to the objective. Tree has Rocket in the backline, but it is keeping the pesky one at bay. Meteor Strike used on the front and flattens Neb like a pancake. A little combo will take Lukewarm out of the fight as well. Dante with 3 here in this very important fight will take this point away.
That's almost like like nothing happened. They just kind of walked, well, not walked in, they kind of jumped in, got 2, and then everything instantly fell apart for Fisher Wisps. They're still in the lead for percentage-wise. They got a couple of ultimates coming up. Maryville also not too lacking in the ultimate department. But this could be 1 or 2 fights for Wisher can actually take this point, but they have the time to work with.
Rocket decides to rejoin the team after an initial bout. Finds Lukewarm here, overclock, and a good flank angle, and Riker has no chance of getting out of that one alive.
Now, this is the things we've seen from Maryville in the past, right? Where like all of a sudden Fisher's just gone. Like it just not even oh, there's a fight or anything. No, just like something happens, people press a couple of buttons and they're just gone. They did use all their ultimates just now, and Fisher didn't use anything. So now Fisher's coming in with an advantage, and they really only have to win that one engagement.
Rocket, oh so low. And he just hiding away. Dante finds them. Scouts out Rocket and end this final fight. Maryville will come in with a 5-4 advantage. Up top, Lukewarm completely denied as Dante gets in their face. Said overclock be damned. Dante is fearless here. 2 kills already picked up as we approach. Oh, 2 players sit in, but an anti on to Riker means they're not going to last long at all. Concerning Rush is here for Fisher. Is there anybody to take advantage of it? It is just Rocket on this point. Oh, Grapes is there on the outside. Doesn't quite get up to the rally. It was the last bastion of hope here for Fisher. Still 3 players strong, but quickly they're being chopped down. And Fisher Whips are able to hang on. Ooh, I say a return from Riker to pick up King. Now it's Riker and Dante. Tree has dropped into the point. Dante's going to drop the Meteor Strike. That won't find anything. Tree does manage to pick up Rocket. Riker goes sliding into the back and off the objective. So Maryville do end up coming away with our first submap.
They really do, and it's... Dante went super low at the start of that fight, and it took a long time for them to actually get healed up, and unfortunately Riker got themselves into just the wrong position to take advantage of it, and because they had taken out Lukewarm earlier, there really wasn't an option to really take down Dante. There wasn't like enough burst or anyone that could do it from range. So yeah, unfortunately they couldn't quite get that going, and that last fight went the way of Maryville University. Now, it was still close. Maryville had spent a lot of resources, which is probably why Fisher felt like they had the upper hand in that fight. But it just goes against the show. You can't just walk in and take Maryville out the way they do to you. I mean, you can, but you know, you need to hit those shots, and Fisher is not hitting them as much as Maryville is in those situations.
I mean, it's so tough. I mean, you feel like Squid should be a very vulnerable target here on the Zenyatta. I mean, you typically see the Brigida paired with Iana to provide protection, but Tree has done such a phenomenal job at just keeping everybody at bay, and King makes sure that Rocket can't find any flank angles, so Squid is able to just sit back pretty, keep discords down. Now, with Vision out of the fight, looks like the attention turned here for Fisher, and that adjustment is working out. 3 quick kills, and first cap will go their way.
And they made a couple of adjustments, right? So Riker went over to the Diva, and Grapes went over to the Lucio, which means that they have more mobility overall in terms of both the tank and the support. So the backline is not really diveable anymore. You can't really just jump on a Lucio or Kiriko and take them out that easily. Same with the Diva. She's much harder to actually burst down than a Ramatris because they're not as static. So there's a lot more also like CC denial, both in terms of Diva Boop as well as the Lucio Boop to sort of deny Doomfist a lot of value, as well as Tracer. So while you don't have that Brigitte whip-shotting things anymore, you're still going to be able to just be annoying to anything that dives to the backline. And now Ana, under a lot of pressure, Vision already out.
Yeah, Rocket had to settle to try to go for Rocket. Excuse me, Dante tried to go for Rocket. In the end, it pays off as Squid is there to back him up. Turns into a 4v3, favoring Maryville on this point. He extends that lead, and oh, Neb gets caught out trying to teleport to Riker and get him topped off. Riker still not able to get out with the mech.
Yeah, I mean, now a lot of pressure forward from Maryville all of a sudden. They made a couple of swaps, Squid over to the Brigitte, Tree over to the Hanzo, and they're just wrecking them up right now. Riker over to the Winston. These teams are constantly trying to fight and jostle for what they think is better. Of course, they both didn't have that much time to think about this new patch. I mean, it's been 2 days. So even if they think they know what's good, that might still change. And this is a very experimental finals for that reason.
Let the Kitsune guide you.
Riker goes down immediately. Oh no. Now, well, the Kitsune Rush not getting the value that Fisher really needs. Dante kind of yeets himself on there. A little gift from Dante said, hey, you're not getting any value out of that rush. Let me leap into it. Fisher are happy to oblige. Rally now up for Maryville as they try to pull this one back. Oh, nice little combo. 1-2. Grape's gone. But Riker now able to melt through that armor with that new adjustment to the Winston, and Squid just falls, crumples before the monkey.
It's really nice to see as well. Of course, you know, Winston now, for those not aware, their Tesla cannon, all their damage to do, it negates any damage mitigation that armor provides. So right now, Maryville doesn't have any armor units, but for instance, Brigitte, she has a little bit of an armor stack on her. She doesn't take less damage from Winston because of the armor. It's a very nice change, and it's also something like it's the one buff that Winston got, but it's something that's going to help him out a lot against non-dive comps.
Nano used onto Squid as Dante was already dead. Did not get a chance to meteor strike in time. Lukewarm, so quick on the kills. Was just holding a lot of ground there with the overclock. Nice move from Rocket. One clip onto Squid. Oh, that was pretty.
I've seen Squid hit right clicks on that though, so you got to be careful. But this time
Gotta
around,
respect the Zen for sure. That was a high risk play from Rocket, but Rocket gets it done.
They gotta watch out a little bit as well because Riker's still returning. They're almost back now, but they're not quite there yet.
Dante looping around the outside and holding on to that meteor strike means they can't move on to this point. I think it was King who initially got the touch. Tree over to Summer, and it's full dive here, but no tank to speak of. This Fisher Maryville struggled to get any kind of entrance. They can't stage.
Tree on the
So Summer moves on to the point. Yeah, has to translocate out. Who's going to be next to touch? King comes in, but Riker has got a primal rage and just making sure you have nothing in the back line to work with.
Almost tree again, by the way. But yeah, no, Fisher takes away a point. Nice adjustments from them as well. It's a very different point, of course. A lot more open, a lot more dive potential. And now that we're going over to downtown, which is definitely the most diveable of these 3 points, I mean, this is going to be where they ultimately are going to have the proper face-off. It's really that point that is going to define which of these teams kind of feels better on that. If Riker walks out in the Junker Queen, I'll be surprised. Not gonna lie. Like, well, she's also got buffed, by the way. Spread's been reduced, so she just does more damage with her primary now. It will still
be underestimated.
It still feels that Winston should be doing better. But if you can bunker up on that point, stand underneath the high ground a little bit, the Junker Queen could just kind of sit there and burst anything that comes close.
Perhaps it's the mobility as well. A Junker Queen can provide some added speed. Yeah, to kind of help maneuver around Dante. So perhaps that might give him an edge just in the mid fight.
Mm-hmm.
Vision from up on the high ground, helping out as King manages to get a kill onto Grapes to start things off. It's an important one to fight, and not when you expect the Tracer to win, but King is not just any Tracer, a legend here on the titular hero. He's the one on the cover of the original Overwatch. Picks up yet another. This gamer's been playing since 2016. I remember casting him on Odyssey back in 2020, and it's just always been incredibly impressive on this hero in particular.
Yeah, gotta take out that couple eliminations there. First control over to Maryville, but that is no guarantee for a map win, of course. Riker back over to the Winston. And they're gonna get back to the composition that won them the last sub-stage. To see if they can find Squid or Vision. Those are really the ones they want to go for. Maybe Tree as well. It's not super hard to dive on as a Hanzo, but we'll see.
I mean, just looking at Hanzo as a character, but the fact that Tree is in control of it, you see they tried. That's exactly who they went for, and Tree manages to lunge out. Dante cycles back in and now is seeking assistance. I mean, look, the cycle's in. It was then King to follow that up. Eventually, Squid finds himself on the chocolate block, and they don't have the escapes. Dante tried to come help, but stuck in a corner. There was just nowhere to go.
And I really like the way that dive is evolved. Like, you talked about 2016 Overwatch. Well, in 2016, dive was you dive on a target, the target dies, and if you do it quicker than the other team, you win, right? Dive nowadays has evolved so much more into, like, you know, some extra psychology and sub moves and adjustments. Like, yeah, they dove onto Tree on the Hanzo. They couldn't find Tree on the Hanzo, so they just switched to a different target because by that point, you know, Maryville has expended like resources and also positioned a little bit differently in order to try and compensate for it. And then you can go after the Zen or the Doomfist or the Ana potentially. They find Dante instantly when they jumps in. That's a really good start to this fight. Looks like Fisher's going to hold on for this one a little longer.
Yeah, the focus fire from Fisher is insane because part of the caveat to that is you get Tree low enough to where they can't have an impact. Dante has to cycle in for Maryville, and then the focus fire is so good, Dante gets low and has to cycle out, and this just continues to go in Fisher's favor.
Yeah.
This particular engagement we're watching, they actually get that kill onto Dante, and it buys him a lot more percentage. Now Dante has returned, looking to attack the backline, but Lukewarm has an overclock there ready for him. Tree doesn't need an overclock to find a kill, just a straight rail shot. Transcendence now in from Squid as they try to pursue this 5v4, but that pulse bomb cannot be healed by a Transcendence. Tree is gone. Riker with a primal rage, pushing Vision all the way out to the train, gonna catch that last train to Busan, and well, in the worst way possible. Onto the tracks go Vision. Fisher take the lead.
Yeah, Fisher 70% and counting. Could really come down to one fight this one, especially if no one's really got any ultimates to work with. You might see a pulse bomb from Rocket, maybe an overclock from Tree. Now, an overclock from Tree is not a mild thing. That's not something you can just casually wave away. That could just win the fight outright, but they need to get it as well. It's still 25% away.
We'll say Fisher have forced Dante to make a swap now onto the Diva off the Doomfist that we've seen him on so often. Poking and prodding, hoping Riker will make a mistake. Discord Orb used on him. Riker tried to back out, has to get out of that low wisp. Squid dies on the approach. Look at how low Riker was. They managed to escape the Discord, but here's Tree, the Prodigy coming in to try to save Maryville once again with a beautiful 180 shot. Are you kidding me? Maryville will flip this point. Holy cow.
And honestly, that was kind of like, you know, a mild overclock.
That's average Tree
yeah,
things.
I mean, it might even been sub-average, to be honest. It was good, definitely, and it, you know, it helped, but it wasn't one of those like proper clutch. This is what won the fight overclocks. So I mean, let's see what they could do now. No Tree overclock, of course, but a lot of other ultimates going to be in line for both teams. Riker jumps in, will instantly just put out a lot of aggression, get healed back up. The point almost flips. It does flip.
Self-destructed from Dante onto the point, buying a bit of space, make that happen. Susan used early, and Riker is still low. Neblo as well, and they're kind of stuck up against this outside with King and Tree putting in a lot of pressure. That pulse bomb just narrowly off the mark, but Rocket is still able to mow him down. Sound barrier out here from Richards. They try to hunt down Dante. It looks like they will get the D. No, they don't quite get the D-Mech. There's the stun. Eventually, the pilot Diva is ejected from the mech. Rocket picking up King means Fisher are actually back in control. Focus fire has stayed solid. Fisher did not sweat. They did not give up. They did not panic. They stay the course and take map 1. At least if they can find that last kill, they do. Fisher starting off this match way better than they did the winners bracket finals. They've already got a 1-0 lead.
It's been a while since I've seen a nano pilot Diva, but it came out in the last fight there. I mean, Tree getting to play the game. Who could have thunk? It's going to be that play that we said was kind of like a mild overclock, but it still was one, right? Like, he jumps in, gets the first elimination here onto the Tracer, 180 straight away onto Lukewarm. It's a really nice click,
And
right?
fall back to an alternative like we just saw the Diva. I think we saw a little bit of Winston. That was quite surprising last week out of Dante. But it's always in response to what Fisher are doing.
Yeah, we did get didn't get a side swap. A lot of the time, again, we see teams want to start on the defense, but this is what Fisher did last time too in Hollywood. Started on attack, didn't get the choice to, but they did. So they might want to set the tempo again, set the pace, set the goal for Maryville to push to, and then just stop them before they get there. That is a very valid thing to do in hybrid if you can manage it. And it would definitely dampen the spirits of Maryville, who last time around, they of course were already 1-0 up when they got to hybrid. Now they're 1-0 down.
1. Attackers incoming.
If Fisher can ride this momentum. Iron pulling out the Ramatra. Of a hybrid brawly, hybrid divies. Interesting look coming out of Fisher West, as a matter of fact.
Squid doing squid
Rocket takes the
things.
brunt of some spheres right out of the gate. Yep, right back to the drawing board. Go Fisher Wisps.
You know what? It's like I was saying, they're not typically will run what they would run on something like Control, but they're just doing it anyways. And I think that's kind of like the beauty of when you get to this level of play, where they're really sort of always forcing the same thing and not really swapping too much. But they're gonna still make it work here. A lot of damage being put out.
Well, the goal
Squid
seems to be the
again.
same. Like, can Fisher get Rocket in on Squid before King is able to hold him back, with Grapes there to kind of escort Rocket forward? And they've been able to buy a little bit of space as Grapes is going to shield up against that Discord Orb. Meanwhile, it's Neb and Iron versus Dante and company down low, winning out on that duel. Now Iron moves up to the high ground, lays 3 haymakers on to Squid. Neb with the final blow. Fisher Whips will get it done in 2.
Really like to see the approach there from Fisher. I mean, obviously, you know, like you said, they're going for this one strategy for trying to get on this hero or this hero, and in the end, they're sort of always managing to bait Dante out. Like Dante going forward gets stuck in that statue, and then it's just Neb walking up, throwing a couple of kunai in their heads. Like, yeah, that's a lot of damage that comes out from Mikiriko. Kind of got to back off after that, but they can't because there's no room to back off. That's the problem with King's Row. Not a lot of mobility.
And a lot of momentum halted here just from one good shot out of tree. Keeps Fisher from pushing through the archway and it allows Maryville to stabilize here in this very important position.
Yeah. Roka thinking they can just sneak behind them into the pub. Not happening on their watch.
Not against King, no way. Rocket trying to go up the middle now with the pulse. Eyes focused on the Dante. Bionade already used here defensively from Vision. Kitsune Rush forces a disengage out of Maryville, but they don't have to spend anything to do it, Classy.
No, but I mean, they do have to back off. Nice punch from Dante. A lot of health bars instantly touched by that. Now we're gonna get the Meteor Strike in, the Dragon Strike too.
Manages to get a kill and get a bit of healing in the air. Now it's just Neb trying to keep her top 12! Double kill from Rocket! The Transit is laid. Lukewarm will also get an instant chip with that headshot out of the overclock. Make it 2!
That was so beautiful. I mean, of course, Dante didn't mean to, but they jumped back into the pulse bomb that was landed on tree. Double kill instantly, and they could just push forward off of that. They'll still have the rally plus the Nemesis form, and of course the Annihilation, that's the word I was looking for. But yeah, that's going to be tough to work with when you just have a nano boost. It will save someone's life, probably, the nano boost, but will it get you eliminations? Will it get you a fight win?
Dante can certainly use it at the moment. They're just going to use the primary fire. The Vortex doesn't quite hold Dante down. We've seen Vision throw this nano onto Squid a couple of times already today. Rally out from Grapes. They have it in his corner. Got to keep that shield up for the moment. Annihilation out here from Iron as they look to finish off the final 5+ meters needed to push this card home. Nano is used onto Dante defensively. Iron wanted tree up in the sky, but has to keep attention on this Doomfist or Dante will run you over. Speaking of running over, King has flattened Lukewarm already, prompting a retreat here out of Fisher.
And Fisher's having, like, of course they're pushing still, like they're not down and out by any means, but they're having a very tough time, and that's like the whole crux of the composition of Maryville right now, with constant harassment from somewhere. It's either Tree from the high ground or King in the backline, or Squid is doing something weird. Like there's always something ticking at them, and they always have to look over their shoulder.
Neb had to make a tough decision there, decides to Suzu Lukewarm, and ends up being the correct decision. Soon a rush use. Iron finds Dante here. Still, we know Maryville aren't going to give up even despite. Oh, wait a minute! Special delivery. Rocket's got King's number. Oh, what an outplay!
That was really cool to see. You know they're going to go for the mega health pack. All you have to do is be there and hope they don't have the recall. They did not, because you know, doesn't even hope. They just calculated that out. Lukewarm just tickling away at Dante a little bit, taking some extra ult charge away for themselves. A lot of ultimates online for Maryville University now. They're unlikely to not win at least one fight here. But 3 minutes 14, they got some time to cycle here to Fisher. They got some time.
They definitely have some time. Oh, all eyes on this Rocket King duel. It's getting spicy. Rocket is just holding on back of cart right now. Iron peeking around this corner with that shield for the moment. Dante took a lot of damage, and the nano has to come out just to support this push in. Iron throws the hands up and blocking a lot of it. Dragon's used. Dante trying to go into the back of that. Finds too low. Grapes gets the shield up in time. Dante will eventually finish off Neb, and it's a +1 here for the defense of Maryville. Big right hook will conclude this fight as Dante cleans up.
2 minutes 30 still on the clock. Of course, we were expecting Maryville to do well. They had to use 4 ultimates for it, but you know, they get
including
the
both
value.
support ults.
They get the value, but you know, you gotta wonder whether that value is going to get you through the next couple of fights, because now Fisher's coming up and they've almost got 5 lights burning. So that's gonna be a tall order for Fisher to get through, for Fisher to not get through it. Dante waiting on top. They know he's there. Tree on the high ground. Same story. Although watch out, not get headshot, but that straight into the arms of King.
I mean, there's so much that can stop Dante with the rally now out. That plus a Vortex is enough just to make Doomfist's life miserable. This quarter on the Rocket means they got to play defensively here for a moment, and the rally fades off. Now Lukewarm from the high ground wins the duel against Tree. Drops down, looking for more. That turned attention up to the Zenyatta. Got one shot off, but it wasn't on the dome, so Squid's able to live through it. Return on the outside. King is another story, though. Finds himself watching a respawn timer, while Fisher look at 3 points on the board and plenty of time in the bank.
Fisher got so close to the end of the map before they even had to use ultimates. Like, that rally came in when the cart was already well rounded to the corner, and then the rally becomes a zoning tool. Then the overclock becomes a zoning tool, and then you still have a rush and annihilation to do even more zoning when you're constantly taking out or at least heavily damaging targets that therefore cannot approach the point. They didn't even have to get eliminations. They just had to press the Q buttons, and Maryville had already shown previously in the map that they were just going to back off and give them space when they did so. The Kitsune Rush was a tool earlier. The Annihilation always is one of those things where it's going to run away from you. And the Overclock, of course, they know that it's a very powerful tool that can do a lot of damage. So Fisher,
I don't think any
again,
of that would have been... I'm sorry to cut you off. I was just going to say, I don't think any of that would have been set up without Lukewarm winning that duel over Tree on that high ground,
no,
though.
of course.
Like, that kind of started... That one kill started the beginning of the end, for sure.
Yeah, but then after that, they didn't really get a lot of eliminations anymore because they didn't need to. They just had to press the buttons, and that made the space for them. We're going to see whether Maryville is going to be able to keep their moment or build their own momentum on their attack. So far, there has been a little bit of a problem into ult over usage. Definitely on that last point, they had just used too much in the fight previously, and therefore Fisher could just use their ultimate sparingly, like one by one trickle them out, because Maryville didn't have anything to work with.
Well, you look brilliant if you invest Transcendence in a 2v4 and your team ends up winning it. But when it doesn't work out, it looks not so brilliant.
Yeah, pretty much, right?
Looks kind of smooth, Bray, when you're like, any plot player would have told you not to Transcendence there, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's words that we use often on the NECC streams, like, oh, I don't know if I would have used that ult there, and that's not something we typically get in matches like this. However, currently on point A, Maryville's making some progress, and Squid found Rocket already.
Yeah, sticking with the Zenyatta. It's working out. I've already mentioned it's a bit of an atypical pick, particularly with the nerfed Discord. Nice little teleport in from Neb to throw the Suzu down, but still it's not enough to keep Lukewarm and company alive. This is going to be a one and done here for Maryville.
Very much is a little bit of extra ult charge for Iron, but also ult charge, of course, for the rest of Maryville that are able to take out the tank. And everything kind of just dominoed over. They found that first pick, and then everything else just kind of fell apart afterwards. It's the classic dive approach, right? You find one, and it just snowballs into a fight win. But still, of
course,
a lot
of space on the back of it.
It's still skill to pull it off. Like, it sounds very easy, but it's not a one and done guarantee. You see a lot of teams find that one pick and then sort of overextend and give the fight away. So
it's easy to botch a dive.
Very much.
Squidward giving a huge advantage to King in this duel against Rocket. Rocket does have, I believe that's Grapes there backing him up. Yeah, as we swap over to the Brig, throws the pack out, finds himself face to face with a nano boost of Dante. Dante's got a lot of people caught him in this corner, but the Discord's now off the table. Grapes goes along with it though, and Dante manages to survive. Both teams will kind of circle back around. Look at Iron. Iron is all the way in this flank angle to come in from the outside. Meanwhile, Rocket has put a pulse bomb into the pocket of vision.
They're going to take that home and examine it for evidence, but Dante is still punching around the back line. We'll get two Lukewarm and Neb out of it, so now you only have Grapes really on the Brigitte, but they're nowhere to be found, as this is just going to be a cleanup central. Crazy to see.
Never ever count a fight done while Dante is still alive. What was that comeback?
That was Doomfist, I guess. I mean,
that was certainly some Doomfist.
It's the danger right now, right? Because even again, I talked about it before. Like previously, you could have used the Meteor Strike to escape from a fight or engage a fight. Now you can do both. You can choose because you get healed while you're in the air, so you don't have to like, oh, I'm on 2 HP, I can use it to get out. No, I'm 2 HP, I can use it and then get back in, and that's a very dangerous precedent to set for a Doomfist player.
So a rush here from Fishers. They want to try to hold this card out, not allow the cap. Transcendence response from Squid. Tree's already picked up one. Iron in a bit of trouble, just trying to keep those arms up, but Vision is there for a little bit of added punching power to accompany Dante on to this third point. With a lot of time to speak of as well.
It's unfortunate that Iron couldn't get into a position to properly use that Annihilation potentially. There was already too much loss, but once again, Fisher not the team to overinvest ultimates. So they're now ready with 3, almost 4 in the bank. As Maryville is running dry. They only got the Meteor Strike. I mean, we know what Dante can do with it, but it is just a Meteor Strike still.
Yeah, I mean, if you can find grapes with it, it can cause a lot of problems.
Oh, Iron's
certainly been hunting the Brig here in the past. Rocket here to make sure this flank angle stays nice and clean. King isn't going to bail on it. Actually takes that duel. Meanwhile, Grapes has a rally here right in front of the objective. That Meteor Strike focused onto Iron this time. Who immediately pops the Annihilation in response. Meanwhile, Lukewarm has an overclock from the high ground. Fisher managed to reclaim control of the Foundry.
A nice ping onto King, taken out late as well. 3 minutes 50. I mean, again, it's a little bit more time definitely than Fisher had. But Maryville is also coming into this with more of an equal ultimate situation. They definitely will have to fight and crunch their way through this a little bit more. Dante, easy control over the high ground. Although will probably be happening most of the time. Not really anything that easily get onto the high ground for Fisher that is also then defendable against the Doomfist diving them. So that's kind of already given away just by default to Maryville.
It's still, I mean, Dante has to contend with Neb and Grapes. Nice pulse bomb onto Iron, and the punch finishes them off. Both pulses stick simultaneously, as a matter of fact, but Maryville come out the better end of the deal.
Nice anti.
They are a huge anti.
And the nano.
And into the back goes Rocket, finds Tree, Vision, Dante adding names to their list.
That was basically Vision, not Vision, Neb's play. That was Neb's play. Like, yeah, King finishes it off, but Neb, perfect timing on the anti-nade and the nano just around the corner. Vision instantly falls and just gets to continue afterwards. Like, Maryville was not ready for that timing, and I don't know if it was Rocket saying, just give it to me, or it was Neb saying, you're gonna take this now. But either way, that was all set up by the beautiful play from Diana.
Big brain play. That's kept Fisher in this fight. They were down. Could be facing a huge time deficit. As it stands, these clocks at the very least will be very close. So that's assuming Maryville can win this fight here with this Transcendence. Tree coming very close to an overclock as well. We have to keep an eye out. Rocket on the inside. King's got him found out. Recall's already used, but Dante is dead. Neb finds it, and the engagement tool is gone. That's a block on the pulse bomb. Iron barely a scratch.
Oh, and I mean, we're talking about like time banks, etc. Of course, Maryville not just wants to finish the map, but wants to finish the map with any time left, because otherwise, Fisher's just going to get a free attack. That's to get 33%, and that could be it. That could be a 2-0. So to go for a winnable situation, Maryville has to finish this map within the next 1 minute 40.
We got a huge weapon right now. But Lukewarm pulls the triggers on theirs first! Lukewarm finds Tree! Takes the confidence, is more reactive, ends up getting kicked into the pit, but not before they find 3 kills! What a statement out of Lukewarm.
We get the XD in the chat.
Yeah,
Lukewarm
we got a little
what's
XD
up.
down there.
Lukewarm knows what's up. Gonna switch over to the Widowmaker for that last little minute 15. It's a little bit of a risk. I mean, you got to hit those shots. I mean, they've been hitting the shots so far, so I guess you got the confidence. But if you get dove and you get taken out, that's a very easy kill to get away for the Widowmaker. Squid, of course, right-clicking through with a pulse bomb on Tree is there again. No overclock for you right now, and 58 seconds on the clock.
Maryville have stopped going for Squid and Vision. I feel like they've turned all their attention onto Tree. As we've seen both Rocket and Lukewarm just honed in onto the Prodigy.
It's
but you can see all, yeah, you can see all the check marks up there. That's what I was just thinking. Dante's coming up through that high tunnel. Try to find Lukewarm in the back. Nice dodge to get around the seismic slam. Lukewarm still keeps sights forward. Counter punch here from Grapes, or this counter stun, and now a rally in effect. It's going to make Dante's life that much more difficult. Tree's overclocking, able to pick up 1. Dante gets 1 more. Rocket finds 2 in return. Annihilation up front. Trey picks up Rocket from the inside. Iron is still alive on this objective, though. This is going to be an overtime at best. There's no way Maryville get another attack.
I was going to say, Fisher's kind of saying, you know what? It's fine. Like, even if we lose now, We already got it. We can't lose this map anymore. This could be a draw, but we're gonna go for the win. And 1 minute 37 would be a lot to do it with, but maybe they can stop it still. Lukewarm over to the Bastion. This is the Hail Mary pick on Kings Row 3rd.
Oh my, yeah, Maryville might just lose the map right here and now. Never mind extra innings. There's the stick. Oh, Rocket not quite able to get that. Did not land as I initially thought. It looked so good, but slightly off the mark. From up high, Tree continues to rain down shots. Drops it in Logan. Up close and personal here as we're in the final moments of Kings Row. At least potentially, with Tree able to find Neb. Maybe they get extended. Maybe Maryville get a chance at a draw here. They'll find Iron on the back. And indeed, Maryville have earned that honor. They can't win it. They could still maybe not lose it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think back of like how long did it take Fisher to take this first point. It was roughly, it was close-ish to this time. It was not that far off. So all that Maryville has to do is hold them for a little bit more than they did last time, and they could very well just draw this map out. But Fisher, they're looking hot today. They're already not guaranteed to not lose their lead, but maybe they can extend it.
I feel like Fisher are going to get 3 fights here. I think with the time they have in Kings Row, it's pretty quick to determine.
It depends on how quickly they set up, and it depends on if they get like, you know, if Tree just finds like a couple of early picks really quickly, like Twice Now or Squid, then you might have to wait a little bit longer. Like it's always but 2 fights for sure, 3 hopefully for them.
Yeah, if you're a Wisps fan, then you're definitely hoping they get that 3rd fight, assuming they need it, of course.
Yeah, they could just take it in 1. That's very possible.
Yeah.
And this
I'm sticking with the Zenyatta here.
Yeah, this Iron Ramatra that's been coming in because we you know, it's Ramatra got like a little bit of a buff. You know, it wasn't huge, but like a little bit of buff of the primary fire when he's in Omnic form. But other than that, not much has changed. And what we see Iron do a lot is specifically change the Nemesis form as they get punched by Dante, just to absorb a lot of that CC and damage and burst that comes through from the Doomfist. And that has a lot to do with how Fisher's sort of able to withstand these engagements, because they're all timed, they're all in rotations. And
so cool,
so is
and it's
Nemesis form.
And you don't think of Nemesis being used defensively like that as often. You always think of it as a pop Nemesis to go engage. But you're 100% right. That is not what Iron's done. And now Iron just walks on to the point. Fisher up 2-0.
Like, we were kind of talking about, like, while things were being set up, but they were set up so effectively that Maryville just walks off the point. I think Dante got an environmental kill at some point. That might be what we're getting here. Maybe here. No, I think just a lot of eliminations. Yeah, just a lot of eliminations. That's fine too. I don't mind either way. So with Flashpoint in general, like those percentages ticking a lot faster than they do in Control. There is a possibility that either of these teams has that same issue here on on any of these Flashpoints, and in that situation, it really matters what composition you run, whether you're going to run into that issue a lot. It doesn't look like with the compositions both these teams are running currently, they're going to run into the issue just to the nature they're going to play. We're going to see Maryville pull out something very different. They're going all the way back to, well, the Sigma May, and there's Tree on the Sojourn. They're going to be a lot less mobile, but a lot more high damage CC.
I wonder how specific this is to Fisher's composition. I mean, Fisher have subbed Riker in, and yet still playing the same tank. We saw Iron playing there in the last map.
Kind of feels like they're just feeling it out a little bit and then potentially going to swap, but Lukewarm is already gone.
I mean, you know, expect that out of a May. Expect that out of a Sojourn, but it's King catching him off guard with a long distance icicle. First control already in Maryville's hands.
You kind of feel like Fisher already has got to try and do something different. Like, yeah, you can run this comp into it, but it's so hard to do. Like, you're constantly going to get caught by these May walls. You don't really have the same amount of burst that comes out of that as well. Plus, you can't really get around the wall again. So, Lukewarm once again just gets found.
Twice in a row. I mean, you can't do this with just tracer damage. It's just not enough DPS to overwhelm the constant shielding and immortality and the sustain available here from Maryville.
It does look like with the armor buffs that Ramatra got, he is a lot more survivable behind that May wall than a lot of the other tanks are. So at least that's a boon they have, but they're not finding any damage or any elimination so far.
Well, I mean, your immortality field tends to be one of your most valuable assets against immortality field. Excuse me, against a Mei wall, since you can jump up and buy those precious seconds needed to either break the wall or get that extra healing in. So Fisher are trying to do this, with Suzu and a Brig shield to protect against King's Mei.
Oh, but I mean, Riker is not dying to the Mei wall. The Mei wall's not a problem currently. It's just that Lukewarm keeps getting headshot by a Mei. Like, that's honestly what it keeps going down to. So far, they haven't really had a fight. And Riker doesn't really seem to be that much troubled by the Mei walls. Like, so far, it's actually looking kind of fine. But they need to find a way to actually get eliminations, and it doesn't seem like they can get closer in a position where they can get either past the Sigma shield or past the Mei wall, or just on top of these supports. Like, look how much Rocket has to do just to get even close to them.
Yeah, incredible PO coming out of Maryville. No chance. Rocket even had a look for that pulse. Goes into the back, but the jump from Squid is too good. Puts out the immortality field anyways. Not sure they even need it, but it's Maryville all over this objective. Downberry used in response to the Kitsune rush coming out from Fisher. Blizzard on this point, comboed with a Hermetic Flux, is a lot of damage for anybody to contend with.
Fisher having just no response to what's going on currently. The Kitsune rush and the Pulse Bomb came out there, but they found absolutely nothing. Like I said, good jump from Squid and Neb mostly. I almost felt like they were using it to get out of the Blizzard. I think that's what happened, but yeah, they couldn't, so... Instant elimination there. They did potentially draw out the Graphitic Flux because of the Kitsune rush. Being like, oh, they can't get out this way. That's an ambush.
And a successful one at that as Trey lands the jumping headshot onto Lukewarm, slides in, put the jab on Riker as well. Maryville really cleanly won this map last week. It was not even close, and so far they are 100% in control here in Saravasa.
The finals of the Legends Division. It was looking like a fairly confident affair for Fisher, but Maryville has had enough, and they're currently showing that they are not going to be trifled with, at least on Sudawasa, on this Flashpoint map. They're trying to get further forward. No adjustments from Wisps, and the Wisps are currently trying to assault this point. Riker once again walled off, will not go down to the death easily, like I said before. Lukewarm again will fall.
God, Lukewarm just cannot stay alive no matter where they go. Tree or King are hunting him down. False gets blown to bits, though. The Riker can now turn their attention onto this Mei. Has the wall at their back, but it doesn't matter. They're able to pop into that Nemesis form. Grapes is going to come shooting out from the point to assist their tank as Riker finds a pair of kills.
Yeah, I mean, because initially you were like, oh, this is really work against the Mei, but like I said, Riker is really not gonna go down because of that Mei wall. It blocks off a little bit, but they first use the shields, then they still have the Nemesis form, and they're just gonna survive because it's so much damage you can block with that, especially with the armor upgrade. Like, that's so huge for Riker to be able to survive with this. Rocket scouting around a little bit out on the outside, trying to find an angle to harass with this increased damage on the Tracer, and there's the rally out, but they use the wall to instantly block those line of sights. It's just Rocket on the other side of it, trying to contend with the rest of Maryville.
Grapes patiently waits for that wall to go down, get that armor pack onto Rocket. Trying to hold that line, but Maryville are just going to rotate back into that same position. They like it up here on this high ground. Grecian Rock misses, but still Maryville kind of send Fisher scattering. That is until the Kitsune rushes in. That's scored by the Fox. Fisher wants to see if they can retake this point, but Rocket's already fallen. Trey now popping the overclock. Gravitic Flux in from False. And this is a pair of ultimates that typically fight winning. Only one kill thus far for the both investment. Eventually, Maryville able to pick up another one. Fisher kind of just scrambling now to get up the stairs and onto this point as it flips over into Maryville's favor. Riker has no choice but to drop on the wrong side of the tracks to try to keep this contestation going, but it's not going to be enough.
2-0 for Maryville, but at least there was a lot of life there from Fisher to show that not just down and out because it's Flashpoint. Gotta try and go over to the next objective. Of course, it will be spawning in a couple of seconds, or it's already spawning, so they know where they have to go, but yeah, first arrivals are Maryville. Fisher looking for control, looking for engagement with them.
Fisher cutting through the market just to try to stay safe. But Rocket caught out already in this fight. Not sure how that happened. I don't know if Rocket didn't realize that they were as far outside the objective as you were or what, but gets killed by False. So Rocket just like ran into the brunt of the entirety of Maryville.
Yeah, to be fair, False does a lot of damage. Like if you hit both hyperspheres, it is a lot. But
Yeah, it's
even with the
120.
yeah, and if you do the melee, it's basically tracer health, so you're kind of done. That being said, there's a small corridor to walk through, and they are gonna walk through it. Our Fisher, just to put a lot of pressure onto Maryville, which is gonna actually stick. And the ultimates are online for Fisher. They could push in with overwhelming odds.
Oh, that pulse is in a nice spot. Yeah, Immortality Field has to come out from Squid. They're gonna go ahead and put the Amplification Matrix up. Riker is there, arms up right in front of the double damage, and even with a sound barrier, False cannot stay alive. A beautiful rally invested in from Grapes, but this Blizzard is huge. That's got at least 3 frozen up. Trees already popped the dome of 1. Fisher managed to flip this point. Lukewarm in a bit of a duel with Tree now, ends up winning it.
Kind of had to use that overclock, at least it felt like they had to. Didn't just take up the straight duel, even though they had the numbers advantage. Honestly, if Tree wasn't reloading as people got frozen in the Blizzard, that could have gone a lot worse for Fisher. Because Tree was reloading. That was actually what led to fewer eliminations. They only got 1.
I mean, I was on the edge of my seat when I saw that Blizzard come out, because it looked monstrous.
It was great, but there was just no follow-up anymore. That was the problem.
Yeah. Another pulse bomb already out from Rocket, but here's Tree with the overclock. Lukewarm's already down, dying first in this fight yet again. Hermetic Flux managed to lift up the annihilation out of Riker, but Riker manages to keep those tendrils going. Enough to kill Squid at the very least, take the Baptiste out. Now False doesn't feel nearly as comfortable on this front line. Starts backing away from one corner to another. Riker pursuing, well, at least to a minor degree, with Rocket trying to follow up in the back. Sound barrier in from Juby, and King picks up Grapes. Immediately, Maryville look to turn this table, go right back onto this point. Riker might have stuck around too long. Oh no, it's False who ends up going down.
Yeah, this Ramatra is just such a monster in the way of everything. If they were before against the Doomfist, they definitely are still now. Juby being chased right now by Lukewarm, but Tree's in the back. They gotta look at 2 angles, so now Juby's reunited with his DPS. This fight is looking to go to Maryville.
Lukewarm and Nev going down. Yeah, it's only a matter of time before Riker falls as well.
So it's time for a re-engagement here. Fisher's not just down and out yet, but they do have to win this one. Otherwise, this map will go to Maryville.
Yeah,
they got a
there's
couple
just
of
time for
ultimates
one
to work
fight.
with. It's like it's Pulse Bomb, Kitsune Rush so far not being the hugest ultimate, and they have to contend with another Blizzard and potentially an Overclock from Tree as well. But Lukewarm is not that far off from their own. It's really going to come down to anything. Like the tank ultimate charges in favor of Riker. They could build that up in this time, but they have to start touching soon. Good pulse.
Gets the Immortality filled out. What the heck of a start. Somehow, Fisher have to find a way to contend with the Blizzards. Now coming online. Hey, kill Tree! That's a good start. Now, Maryville will have to invest in a 3v5 if they want to use it at all. Put King into a difficult decision. Make him make a Sovi's choice. And, well, King decides to hold on to it, and Fisher win the point.
Yep, unfortunately, the scientists had to weigh the odds, and the odds were against them, so they chose to save their resources for the next experiment. And that's going to be on the next courtyard point here on Sudavasa. You see it there with the fountain. It says defend above it with a little locket because it's still locked for another 15 seconds. Teams will arrive roughly at the same time, but high ground position will be there for Maryville. Actually, will be there for Fisher. I think they took that angle. No,
Am I crazy, or did
Maryville.
Tree just like absolutely destroy on this point last time? I feel like this is Tree's best point. Can sit up on that high ground with the Sojourn, and Fisher couldn't do anything against him last week.
At any point is Tree's best point as long as they hit these overclock shots. And right now there's a wall in the way because of their own May. Oh, it's Lukewarm actually. Never mind. Sorry guys.
Yeah.
It's Lukewarm tapping.
Annihilation now out from Riker. False is already down. Juby falls as well, and the rest of Maryville are looking to just stay up on the high ground. King comes out of Cairo freeze just enough to get bunked on the dome.
But again, no Blizzard used, no Overclock used, no support ults used. It's Fisher investing resources, and yes, they find the value, they find the fight win, but eventually they're not really going to have any resources left. They're currently sitting on almost both support ultimates and a pulse bomb, so it's not like they have nothing. But they gotta be careful about how they cycle through them, especially if Maryville is going to be careful about theirs.
Your Fisher. If you lose this point, you want to make it as expensive as possible on Maryville. Obviously, ideally, you just don't want to lose the point at all. Tough ask against Tree with an overclock. If they cycle up to this high ground, they're just going to push through main. Definitely can't overclock until they get multiple angles here, which is why you see Maryville coming up to the side. They're going to leave Tree on the high ground while False moves down low. Ant Matrix up to start this off. Double healing available for False, so they can fairly just turn this corner and get in a bit of an up-close and personal duel with Riker. False Bomb in the back trying to devalue. It doesn't land. Blizzard's out. Riker's dead. Sound Barrier and the Rush are both late. Neva's going to fall. Lukewarm from the high ground manages to land a rail, but that is all they're going to get.
Our objective now.
At this time, Maryville, again, they didn't have to invest a ton, just a Blizzard, a little bit of the amplification matrix, but they still have some left. And now it's Fisher running dry on resources. They do have 98% to play with, but it's not as much as it would be on a control map. You really can get maybe one fight out of this before you're, well, Maryville just getting the point for free. Well, not for free, but getting the point.
No, but that kill on the Tree is massive because Fisher actually overspit in the last fight. They needed an advantage in the neutral, at least force some ults out of Maryville here. Hasn't yet. There it is. Sound Barrier now used, and everybody from Maryville jumps down to the low ground. Everybody except for Squid of the Baptiste, who's going to just take shots at Riker. Mow down the Ramatra from the opposite side and free up this battlefield. Maryville to just run as they please.
Yeah, False now on the Ramatra as well, just running at them, using the Annihilation. They feel it. They feel this point is theirs. They feel this map is theirs. And with only 17%, they might be able to block off the entrance, but Fisher's approaching fast. They have the Lucio with them. They might be able to make it.
Lukewarm's popped the overclock. Less than 5 seconds to go before can they get on the point. Riker is up front. The Lucio trying to push in. The overtime has been initiated. It looked like it was Rocket that got it done, but an Ant Matrix means insta-death there for the Tracer. Riker drops in from the high ground, 14% away. Cannot get on in time. Gets blocked out just on the outside of the point. Tree will drop the letter number in chat. Maryville win themselves a map.
They get the map win, and with a very different approach stylistically. From both teams, it ended up being not so much actually from Fisher. Fisher kind of stuck with what they were good at before, but it's Maryville making the adjustments, and the adjustments are the exact same matchup in terms of heroes between these teams, but it being a different map and it being a different game mode as well, it definitely is very understandable if they would switch it up a little bit more. But I do think both teams have found the power of the Ramatra. They have realized the strength of the Omnic, and they've also realized, well, maybe Fisher hasn't fully, but they've also realized that, you know, they can now play certain heroes they maybe couldn't have done in the previous patch. It's going to be Riker on the Orisa this time around, and I'm not one to question Fisher's strats because they do so much prep and they have such like a good support staff behind them. I just want to see how it works out in this situation because False is on the Ramatra.
And I think it's just a matter of have Fisher had enough time to really test this Orisa. I mean, is this a planned strat against a Ramatra? And how exhaustive has Fisher's prep been in this exact composition? Now, with the way they're pushing False back, I'd say there's definitely been some prep. There's certainly a game plan here from Fisher. Unfortunately, not everybody survives the rotation. 2 casualties already on the board means Maryville with an early advantage.
Yeah, Ramatra was not the problem there. Like, for sure it wasn't, because Ramatra got nothing done. It was literally just the DPS going onto Grapes, onto Rocket, Lukewarm, and Neb, and then Riker was kind of like, wait, where did my team go? You know?
False still didn't die. The False just absorbed all of that pressure and just doesn't die.
Yeah, but that's kind of what it came down to, right? It's like, oh, False didn't die, but False also didn't really get much done other than that. Like, true. Riker also didn't die until the end. King falling early this time, though. That's a good start. That's definitely what we want to see. No wall in the way, and a lot less damage output as well.
Energy Javelin used to break the block of False there just a second ago. Definitely an important interaction to keep in mind here as we watch this duel unfold. Fisher with a good counter punch back. Either team able to win a fight in a row.
Grapes being on the Lucio meant that they could be back really quickly as well. So the card has been like the bots barely pushed like 24 meters. It's crazy. It's like a really nice way of re-engaging here for Fisher, and they could just equalize the distance. Of course, Maryville also has the Lucio. They're going to be back quickly, and both teams are looking at a fair few ultimates. This could be a very explosive fight, but let's see who chooses to use theirs first. This King is not yet ready with the Blizzard.
Beautiful dance so far here. 2 minutes into map number 4. Full spawn from a long distance will not find the mark. Ant Matrix up top here allows Trey to pick up Rocket. Not even sure they needed the Ant Matrix on that one. Depends on how charged the rail was. It's a headshot out of Trey once again to kick off this fight. Now, Fisher do have some ultimates, but a great Maywall kind of denied some value from the terrorist surge, and Grapes falls as well. Lukewarm still investing into this fight as the overclock is popped, but a sound barrier from Juby is going to nullify any of that effect while Squid picks up the kill.
Does mean that Grapes will have sound barrier advantage in the next fight, but Maryville's holding on to 2 DPS ults and of course the Annihilation. So one sound barrier is very unlikely to be the savior of that. However, if Maryville chooses to invest the Blizzard and the Overclock at the same time, for example, one sound barrier can very much be the stopping power to at least 1 or 2 eliminations, if not all of them. It's all about timing. And let's hope that Grapes does actually get the beat down and doesn't get eliminated before they can drop it.
It feels like it's certainly possible with Tree hunting from the high ground. Sight lines are just all the way across the map. Suzu used early from Neb just to keep themselves alive, and Fisher are unable to contest this cap. So early spawns now open here. Riker returns a moment too late. Walther back and no Neb to speak of. Sound barrier only gets 2! A disastrous turn here for Fisher.
Grapes waiting for that one, but it didn't quite do anything really, and only an overclock used for a quite expensive investment from Fisher. They're now going to swap over Riker to the Ramatra of their own. Of course, we know that Riker is very adept at that one, and we saw it happen on Surabasa earlier. But they're very much on the back foot already. 6 minutes to go. Maryville's already pushing halfway through this point, or at least halfway, a quarter way.
Yeah, I mean, it's halfway through the map as a whole, for sure. A little over. And once they start pushing up this hill, things get real dangerous, and Tree's got this high ground advantage to be able to escort Maryville all the way up that hill. And with an Ant Matrix up here, it is just double the fun here for Tree as they cut down everyone.
Oh, man. Fisher Wisps. They were looking so good in the first 2 maps. The Maryvilles found the formula to break their spirits, or at least break their compositions. And I'm just gonna try mirror. The only thing real difference is Neb on the Kiriko versus Squid on the Baptiste. They might even switch that over after the Kitsune Rush. The Kitsune Rush is out.
Now Rocket gets popped immediately. Annihilation thrown in from False. And just jumping at him, arms up, claiming as much space as they can. The tendrils do eventually dissipate, but Maryville are staring at the spawn point now. Then there's nobody between them. Lukewarm in the back, jumps up to the high ground with an overclock.
Another sound barrier
used from Juby. Yeah, keeping everybody up, and manages to find the kill under Grapes. Juby picks up 2. Juby comes into the match, didn't see him at all last week, and having a huge impact on the Lucio here in map 4.
I mean, that's the one hero we definitely think about when we hear Juby. We think Lucio, and showing it off once again, and they're just gonna cap here. There's nothing they can do. Fisher, Riker throws out the Annihilation, but can you find anything with it? Yes, they can. Grapes and Riker, good for 2. Still losing a lot of HP, but they might be able to stave off the offense for now. Maryville, they're not completing the map just yet, and with 4 minutes 15, a potential comeback might be afoot.
Woo, that's a long way to come back.
It's a long way to come back, but it's Esperanza, like the comebackable map.
Oh, it's
this is where you
possible.
can do it.
It is certainly comebackable. Like, I won't argue that it's possible.
Yeah.
But they're not even going to get another fight before they get rid of the close spawns. I mean, Fisher will have to take a fight before they can even get rid of Maryville's closer spawns.
I was going to say, Juby has been on Houston. He knows how Houstonable this is.
Oh, Maryville hoping that curse doesn't carry over. Inside I rush out from Fisher on this point, but a Blizzard just completely nullifies it. Good move from Fisher just to back out of there. Almost a worthy investment of the rush just to get the Blizzard out, considering that they don't suffer any casualties from it. Down barrier in for Fisher as they try to push forward. Rocket up to the high ground, has eyes on Juby. Lands that one. It lands on Squid. I thought they hit the Lucio. No, they found the Baptiste. Even higher value than initially anticipated. King under a lot of pressure. Neb with that final blow. Fisher will move up to this high ground, and they managed to win 2 fights in a row. Good start here in their comebackable map.
Yeah, they might be able to cap the checkpoint off of this, because the bot's not that far away, and of course respawns are distanceable. False somehow finds 2 in the back though. That's not good.
No.
Fisher actually might not be able to get this point now. They might have to back off before they can get here because they can't fight right now. They have to wait for the respawns.
No, but they'll leave Rocket. They'll leave Rocket sitting here with triple blank.
They can't fight to like block them off from contesting. Essentially, that's what they can't do. So that's definitely gonna be Fisher backing off and Maryville trying to regain their lost distance almost, but they made some progress and it's not over just yet. Fisher can still win this fight and gap it anyways.
Feels like Fisher needs to win this fight right here, right now, though. And they're running into a sound barrier.
Oh, Riker.
As the volume starts to dirt down on the extra shields, Lukewarm popped the overclock, but there's just nothing to be found, and Riker, is melted, is punched into oblivion. Lukewarm survives with 1 health, but without a tank, Fisher, well, now they don't have a Kiriko either.
That is really looks like they had to win that fight. Fall somehow finding those 2 kills in the backline, but after that last fight, that's really what is turning this around. Of course, there's so much happening. We don't really know how it happened, but I'm assuming Falls was just pulling something out of their hat. It's gonna be Fisher Wisps staring down the barrel of a almost 100-meter deficit with 140 on the clock. And Squid, at least they found him early.
Continues to push forward, just circles around. King stuck around to hold the point. They get picked up there towards the end of this fight, and Fisher will keep this moving. Maryville do a good job of holding the bot for as long as possible.
Yeah, they do. Fisher still wins that engagement quite quickly, at least. So that's a feather in their cap, boon to them, and they will be able to not have to deal with forward spawns either. Like that had never been reclaimed.
Juby got back spawned.
No, there was no forward spawns, right? I don't think they had claimed them yet.
No, I think everybody else got forward. Yeah, everybody else got forward spawns.
Either way, at least it's Juby. It's not someone else, right? Like it's Lucio. They got back quite quickly. There's an aggressive posture here from Riker. Both annihilations are up, but only one's activated right now. I think Riker might throw us in soon as Lukewarm already goes down.
Yeah, and Riker even had the Kitsune Rush and a Sound Barrier there to bolster them up, and still couldn't find any picks there early in that fight. This is enough to survive the annihilation, but Riker will never get a chance to use theirs. King acts first, strikes faster.
30 seconds remaining, not in bot control. This is definitely it for Fisher at this particular point. I'm actually, honestly almost surprised that Maryville's actually pushing the bot forward. They don't have to. Like, they could just sit here and wait for them. They're not going to take the risk. They're going to try and take the engagement. They want to have some fun, and fun is what they're going to get.
Take the high ground. Yeah. Well, they're going to leave the bot just right here in the middle of the kill zone, right? Oh, and get themselves some close spawns while they're at it. This is a tough ask for Fisher. Anybody that goes down from Maryville will spawn right back in this same spot, and a lot of meterage to pick up. Fisher, fortunately, does have a couple of ults to work with. Some early damage will drive False back away. One corner bot. Riker's gonna pop the Nemesis form and try to push it forward, but Trius on the high ground has an Matrix and a Sound Barrier, goes leaping in, sliding into a 1v2, lands the headshot onto Lukewarm. Now turns around and puts the headshot onto Neb as well. The follow-up, Riker gets beamed between the eyes. Tree factor in full force. Maryville tie up your grand finals.
Some people slide into your DMs, Tree slides into your backline, and unfortunately there's nothing you can do about it because Tree doesn't have a block feature, so you cannot ignore them. Fisher, they're still looking good, don't get me wrong, but currently they're just, both Suravasa and Esperanza looked fairly confident for Maryville. There were some highlights, there were some moments, but the overall control is definitely there for Maryville. Yeah, you can,
especially against the team.
You know, it's like you can, but he is just punching better and has more health. So what are you gonna do? So we do see both our mattress currently queued up. Of course, Fisher's still in spawn, so we're not 100% sure they're gonna stick with it. But we might even see Neb on the Moira. I don't think so. We might see Neb on the Moira. It would be really cool. We are gonna see that same composition for Maryville at least. Juby, Squid on the Lucio and the Baptiste, False on the Ramatra, and King and Tree on their May and Sojourn combo. Close hold as well. They might not see this coming with the wall, but there's a lot to walk around. The wall is not just in a choke. There is like an extra gap.
Yeah, there's a huge gap there. I mean, this is gonna buy some time. I mean, you've got Tree on that back left corner. It's gonna be very hard to get to. But Iron on the back of a good wall, able to find that kill on Juby to start things off. Fisher able to break this spawn hold rather quickly. Not even slowed at all. But I will say, with a close hold, Maryville could get 3 fights here on point A defense.
Very much good. Like, there's a reason why they held close, of course. Not just because it's a decent place to fight, but also because they can. This corridor is like, this street's a little better of a place to fight. Don't get me wrong, especially with the May. You can have a little bit more time to put the wall up in the right place. But Fisher now also running the May for the first time. Like, they're actually, essentially, they're almost mirroring, except for Neb on the Moira. And Moira actually is a very cool thing to put in here versus something like a Kiriko or a Baptiste, just in terms of how she plays around with the healing.
I mean, it certainly indicates that Fisher wanting to stay bunched up and just really charge forward. We put all pressure on the front line, all guns pointed at False. Both teams kind of falling into this rhythm as they clash over this corner. Looked like Lukewarm trying to go for the outside flank, or at least go through the inside building, rather. Wall broken through, and Iron now pushing through the enemy line, pushing Maryville all the way back, but there's an Ant Matrix goes out. Iron didn't see that one coming, caught totally off guard by the double damage.
Oh, they'll still be trying to chase this down.
I don't think they expected it that early, Classy. I don't think they expected Squid to have it already. I don't know.
It was one of those situations where I don't really know. Like, it's hard to say what exactly happened, of course. But like, Neb was healing. Now they have the coalescence to push through, though. I think that's like the interesting part. Like because the real discussion, of course, is like Baptiste versus Moira. Like, what's going to help you more in this situation?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's Baptiste, but sometimes it's Moira. Like, there's an argument for both. That's why we see both on this field right now. This time around, it's going to be Lukewarm winning this one out. Though both Blizzards went out, and it's going to be Rocket's one that finds more value. So then it's Fisher capping point 1 with in about 2 minutes 10. So they get 2.5 minutes on top of it. Roughly 4 minutes will be remaining by the time this card starts moving again. But
hey, with double Blizzard, the fade was a lot more valuable than the immortality.
Exactly,
I'll tell you that.
Right? Yeah, exactly. And it's in coalescence, of course. Like, it's a little bit more fight continuing. Like, it's less
Sure.
static, of course, like the immortality field is. Lukewarm in a good flank position, though, finds the immortality field. Sound barrier's out.
I feel like Grapes was like a pixel away from getting Ajaxed.
Yes.
I could have been wrong there, but it was close.
It
was close.
Like
I know Tree. Yeah, I know Tree wanted that one.
Juby's still messing around a little bit, hauling that cart. But yeah, I think that's just what we're gonna keep coming back to, honestly. Squid versus Neb, because like, yes, Squid is gonna be more survivable with the fade. It's very annoying to find Neb ever, but Squid is going to be having a little bit more like instant utility for the team rather than over time utility, and Neb is also a little bit more contingent on these bursts of utility versus healing and damage, right, with the orb as well as with the healing resource. So they have a short window of dominance, and then they have to be careful. That's what Wisp is looking into.
Speaking of windows, Squid does have this Ant Matrix ready to go as Fisher trying to turn this corner, and it's going to come out immediately while trying to keep Iron in place, but they managed to get over the top of it, and Fisher back out to safety with that speed of Grapes. Maryville are trying to pursue here, but a Ravenous Vortex kind of caught King in place. Oh, good move. Maryville get that wall broke. King manages to back out safely despite the coalescence and all the damage coming through. Overclock from Tree, traded out with a kill from Iron. They got frozen up, I believe. Rocket tried to respond, bring this back, but it didn't catch anyone. The Blizzard whiffs entirely from Rocket.
I don't know if it got caught in the corner of the cart or something, because I don't feel like they wanted it to throw that close to themselves. But
yeah, I think you're right.
It got caught out either way. 2 minutes 10 on the clock. They're almost there, but it is a hard point to capture, as we know. As Shambali, you have to go all these up on this entire high ground through a snaking corridor. The enemy entirely firing at you, having positional advantage, having just everything handed to them, basically. There will be an overclock for Lukewarm that isn't there for the other side.
Yeah, because Tree's gone to a Bastion.
Yeah, I mean,
they're talking about where will a Bastion be effective against this new Ramattra. I guess we get to find out. One of the most lethal DPS players we've ever seen here in Collegiate.
Juby holding on to the sound barrier. Doesn't need it. Overclock doesn't find anything as well. Oh, there's Lukewarm. Finds one.
Okay, yeah, Lukewarm was trying to come in from the outside, so Maryville just all rushed down the hill, and Lukewarm had no sights. Does find Squid at the very end, but it seems incidental at this point.
I think Juby's is going to pick up Squid, and then they're going to have to re-engage, but... Is Lukewarm going to swap as well? There's going to be Bastion off now. No, it's gonna be Reaper. Even better. Yes.
Ooh.
I like it. I like seeing the hustle, honestly. Like May Reaper, it's a classic combo. We've seen it so many times and it's back, baby.
I mean, and this just plays right into what Fisher want to do, this to stay clumped up, rush forward as fast as you can, and burn everybody down in that small window of advantage that you've got. Sound barrier could expand that window. Grapes and Fisher need to be aggressive. Wall is used. This is going to be the go. Immortality, excuse me, Amp Matrix up here from the defense. Bastion shooting through that. It's like 900 DPS. It's ridiculous, the sheer amount of damage that a Bastion puts out through a window. Coalescence completely blocked by the wall. Lukewarm could not get healed up. Has to be a sound barrier in, but everybody's frozen. Iron pops the annihilation, able to stay alive. The insane sustain from this Ramatra allows Fisher to stay in this fight despite the seconds dwindling down and what has been a very exaggerated team fight. 10 seconds on the clock. Blizzard out. This one actually manages to get in deep. Is it enough? King has to cryo freeze just to hold the cart. Juby comes in to stall and try to keep things alive here from the defense of Maryville. They are still 5 strong. On the outside, Rocket is low. I only see 4 players here. Now with Rocket going down, that is definitely true. Lukewarm trying to go to the right-hand side. There was nothing to be found there. Immortality failed. Keeps everybody alive. Squid is clicking heads.
Lukewarm just got swallowed away like a fly, and this is where the cart is gonna halt. It is not bad for Shambali. Like, plenty of teams will never complete second because that's just how the defensive position of Shambali is over there. But Maryville, I mean, they're looking pretty good on this still. Fisher's looking pretty good at what they're doing too. Like, again, there's not much between them. But it's Fisher making adjustments. Maryville as well. I mean, Tree going over to the Bastion, of course. The Chili Strike did come out in that last fight. Didn't really get much. But Lukewarm on the Reaper just got swallowed away like a fly. Not really.
Well, it felt like
much
Fisher
getting
tried
done.
to close that gap. Like they rotated kind of left way around, like the left side of a horseshoe. Couldn't find an opening there, got blocked off. Then tried to kind of follow that horseshoe back around behind the cart and go to the right-hand side of the entirety of Maryville. Couldn't get anything done there. They lose players on both attempts. They just could not close the gap.
It's a map problem more than a composition problem, to be honest. Like it's really just Shambali in a nutshell, to be honest. That's what Fisher was running into, and honestly, like there's a really good chance that we see Maryville struggle with the exact same thing. Like it's a very real possibility. I would not be surprised if that happens the exact same way. They might get like the extra centimeter in like overtime or something, but like there's a very real possibility that Fisher can just hold in the exact same way because that's the way that Chimbali's set up. Like
this comes down to final fight right in front of that point.
Even when Lukewarm did like that flank right on the Sojourn, at that point Maryville's like, sure you do that, sure. I mean the cart's not far enough. We just rush forward and your entire overload goes to waste, and we have a 5v4 fight. We don't mind that. Like it's so hard to find the angle to attack and get there, but aggressive hold from Fisher as well.
And so far, it's more successful. Immediately, quick 3 pair of picks. And Maryville saw it coming. Maryville seemed way more prepared for this than Fisher did on the attack as they shot out to the right-hand side of spawn to create some distance. But still, Fisher find the kills.
I think the very interesting thing that Fisher did, and I don't know if they fully did it on purpose, but they kind of backed off into the attacker spawn so that Maryville couldn't rotate back. The only way they could go was forward because otherwise there would be enemies anyways. There's the Bastion though. Treaties wants to get them before they get out of spawn, but it's already a minute burned and they're still not convincingly winning this fight. They lost Squid.
Yeah, and they're out of soul configuration, and Iron was still alive. Tree does eventually burn it down. Great wall from King. Kind of a dying wish, denying healing there on the back end of that fight. Takes 2 attempts, but Maryville eventually get this card on the road.
It's a minute down at least. More time burned than what Maryville was able to do. And like you said, they're going to get another 2 fights, roughly. That's what the distance does to you. Distance-wise, they should. I think they're going to be okay, like fighting in this next choke point, roughly, like at the incline, and then maybe they get another one. But they go very aggressively once again. We know that they want to do this with the Moira.
So guarantee a third fight if they lose this one with Grapes going down early. That's looking likely, particularly with Nab as low as they are. Oh yeah, False just catches them on the drop. Oh man, Red, that was like a pop fly. False caught that easily.
I'm so down with them burning time, but you gotta also win fights in order to make the time burn worth it, because otherwise you're just feeding ultimates and they're gonna win eventually. Like, that's just what it comes down to. And Fisher, this is the fight they really have to win. if they want to make a difference.
They're not. Oh, they make it with less than a meter. Coalescence falling from the sky like a guardian angel for Iron. Blizzard on the point. Countered completely by Juby Soundbarrier. Juby doesn't get frozen up before it's all said and done, but there are no fatalities here from Maryville. I spoke too soon. King gets fall by Graves, the Lucio of all players, while there's an annihilation here from Falsa on the point. Artillery strike from Tree to try to clear this thing out, but Lukewarm has an overclock and it's forced Maryville back. Now with less than 2 minutes to go, Fisher have bought a lot of space. They haven't quite stabilized. Iron does have an annihilation, and a kill from Lukewarm will go a long way. In fact, Iron not even going to have to use their ultimate.
That fight went ults for ults, except for the annihilation. And that is such a big win for Fisher, because now you're looking at 115. It's a bit of a gamble, but because they found King, they felt very comfortable not using that annihilation. And now Iron is in a position where they can just control the space of the next fight very easily. And there might only be one good fight left, because it's a minute on the clock and they're not even starting yet.
Potentially last opportunity for Maryville to do something here on Shambhala Monastery. Later shield there from Fisher, and it was actually in front of Maryville's and allowed Iron to scream forward. Look at this! Look at all the position they're taking. The Coalescence behind them! Maryville are dropping like flies! As Iron just shoves the staff right in False's face and says, "Be away with thee!"
Tree dying late as well. They'll only respawn with like 22 seconds left on the clock. This is going to be a fairly rushed fight for Maryville. Fisher again controlling all the space. They will have better ultimates too. Grapes already on the sound barrier. Juby might not get it if they die too early in the fight. Lukewarm and Rocket both with ultimates. Tree just swapped back, so won't have it, and King is fairly far off. False could get annihilation, but again, Fisher, it kind of feels like their fight to lose.
Ant Matrix, one of the only win cods here for Maryville. Get an early kill. Grapes is going to drop in the south barrier. Goes in aggressive. The Blizzard is used as well. And Squid cannot escape it into the back. Iron melts one with those tendrils of death. Now is just chasing False around, punching him in the back. False is surrounded. Fortunately, their ultimate hits everybody around them. They get two with that. No way. 3v3 left on this point. King Cryo freezes to keep the overtime burning.
Gets the Blizzard out as well.
They're with them. Blizzard is out. Iron's outside of it, though. And the cart isn't close enough to where Fisher have to contest. They're able to wait out the Blizzard. No deaths on the back of that. False is swapping over to Doomfist just to get back into this fight, Classy.
Coalescence is online, though. They could do a lot of damage and healing with that. The sustain is there. They do find Juby. That's a big one. They need to watch out for this Kiriko on the side. But no, the double boop, and Grapes finishes it off. Fisher gets the 3-2 lead, but they had to fight for it. And like I said it's got to be the Shambhala special of both teams struggling a lot to push. But Fisher's composition with the aggression on the Moira paying off so much more on the defense than it did on the attack. It was great.
Oh, and Graves things up as we head into Lijiang Tower.
As we are preparing to attack, we see some things being picked in spawn already. Squid now hovering over the Moira. Vision on the Reaper. We could see a May Reaper comp vision coming out on the Reaper. It is indeed no Symmetra shenanigans coming out here. Lukewarm on the Sojourn. So this time the changes in the DPS, and Maryville accepting that Moira is the status quo.
Yeah, hence the change with Vision in. To play this Reaper. One of those infamous swaps of all time, but I'll get into that one a little bit later. Squid falls early in this fight as it looks like Neb. Smarter positioning of R2 Moiras here in the first fight for Lijiang Tower. Iron along the outside finds a vulnerable tree, and Fisher looking to clean this up as everywhere they go they're finding picks. They did have Lukewarm a little low, but the healing is there.
Yeah, you're talking about Vision being like this, Vision's what we do the Reaper being this thing, right? Like, I'm obviously gonna let you talk about it, so bring it up. What's the deal?
Well, Vision was the hit scan player for ISU. When they push into the finals, and then there was a late swap to move Vision onto the Reaper. And ISU, who did not make anybody's top 4 pick in that tournament I believe that was over the summer, suddenly they win it all based off of this swap and Vision going to the Reaper. Maryville are clearly hoping for that same success, but once again, Vision falls early in this fight.
Right? Yeah, I was going to say, like, you just kind of curse it with the legend of the Vision Reaper.
Yeah, sorry.
We get the defensive coalescence, so they just to re-engage coalescence. I guess you can push back in. Another wall is out, but they are easily able to keep Iron alive. And this push into spawn.
He's gonna have to do it. Yeah,
he throws it. The blue.
He doesn't even make it out.
Cancels.
Now the sound barrier in is just going to negate Squid's coalescence and forces Juby to use a sound barrier of their own. The rest of Fisher disengage with Lukewarm on an off angle. The Kova clock is already picked up too. Oh, what it falls. It's Rocket. He's going to steal that kill away.
Just the heads up reality being like, if I'm quick enough, I can hide in this side room and they won't know I'm here. They see my entire team retreat to point and they're just going to walk past me. It's just one of those things where when I do it, it doesn't work. But when they do it, it comes out and it's great and I love it. Fisher now, ultimate advantage, positional advantage, percentage advantage. It's only a Death Blossom. If there was ever a moment for a Death Blossom to matter, it's this one.
Vision just playing a little peekaboo off the corner. Goes in. Iron point blank shield already used. There's the Nemesis form. Vision has to be careful. Dancing on the edge of the blizzard. Still stuck in this duel with Iron. Pops the Death Blossom. Iron lives through it. The Annihilation is enough to keep the health alive. Lukewarm saving them with that railgun just before they died. It was shot from Tree. And it's enough for Fisher Whips to take the first sub-map.
The 100-0 sub-map 1. Fisher Wisps are feeling it. They can taste it. They can smell it. Maybe they're also gonna grab their coach's card and get some sushi. Maybe they have some other plans, but they are tasting whatever their reward is apparently gonna be because they don't want to take a second longer to take away this championship than they need to. 100-0 on point 1. What's it gonna be on point 2? As this is where the May Reaper really has been shining in the history of Overwatch. This has been the place. Are they gonna pull it out again, or are we gonna see some other shenanigans? I don't know. But currently, Lukewarm is on the Symmetra, potentially just to get out of spawn quick, but it could be for more.
He's going over to a Tracer here, so no May from Maryville University. Fisher Wisps are salivating like Pavlov has rung a bell in anticipation of winning one more summit and taking the championship away. Not only that, but getting their revenge against the Saints. Ball is a bit early. Not able to capture False on that one. Circumventing that, False continues to put pressure down. Maryville control of this white room as it provides such great sightlines onto the objective. Fisher's just all rotate down low. Tree is on this point. Maywall used defensively there from Rocket and Iron under a lot of pressure. Lukewarm is able to get Tree, but not before they finish off Iron, and Fisher Wisps have to disengage.
Yeah, they're going to be Maryville taking the point away first. They have the control, they have the space, and they're going to try and aggressively push back into Fisher. But Squid going down again. There's a lot of healing missing.
Vision able to... Ooh, Wraith form out and gets that kill onto Lukewarm. Lukewarm was barking up the wrong tree. Speaking of tree, Rocket found him. 4v4 on the point. Fisher flips the objective. Support ult's available here for the Wisps. Rocket is taking control of the all-important white room.
A lot of guts as well from Tree to play Tracer against the May because one headshot and you're gone.
He certainly has brass, that's for sure. Laser light show over the point. Let's cool everything down, says Rocket. Finds a kill on the Tree. There's that icicle you were talking about. Tree on the business end of it. And now already. Vision has no escape.
I mean, I guess, you know, Squid shouldn't have crossed the beams.
Don't cross the streams. Crossing the streams is bad.
It's bad. I mean, in the end, it will save the world, so let's keep that in mind.
Oh, tell them about Twinkie.
Fisher Wisps in very firm control of the objective, firm control of this corridor, and of course with the May, how could you not be? Vision going incredibly low, and this is the time for Maryville to start making a difference. They have the ultimates to do it, but so does Fisher.
That's a lot. This could be the Annihilation to start things off. Sound barrier from Grapes just in the nick of time. Look to save from the Pulse Bomb. Death Blossom from the Vision, though, might be the difference maker. Might be just the cue that Maryville ordered here to finally get themselves back on the board and find some stability on Control Center.
4 Qs were ready. Well, 5 Qs were ready. 4 were used. Tree almost getting half of their ultimate back, so they're doing a lot of damage in that fight. 71% though for Fisher. They're now going to be able to walk back in with a Coalescence and a Blizzard. We'll have 2 Coalescences on the board once again. Probably going to be traded as usual. But Rocket with that Blizzard could be a huge difference maker, especially the space that's just as confined as this is.
Also, the wrong side of the wall. Coalescence once again out from both teams, both focused onto the tank line. Rocket's Blizzard will find False. The healing will not be enough to keep him up. Ooh, the Wraith form from Lukewarm just in the nick of time to not die to the Pulse Bomb from Tree. And Fisher stay on top. If they continue with this, if they can find this advantage, find the W on the back of this advantage, it could be all done and dusted. 71% for him, but Rocket has gone down. Tree does fall in the process. Vision trying to move in lieu of their other DPS missing. All sights from Fisher were turned on to Juby. They're not able to find that kill, even with the sound barrier out here from Fisher. Death Blossom in from Vision. Not able to get any kills, but it does force Fisher back. Now Lukewarm with the response. Gets totally healed up. Does eventually get that sound barrier out from Juby. Could be just the open door Iron needs to close out this fight if they can get up to this annihilation. May not even have to. 2 from Rocket. Starts the waterfall flowing in Fisher's way.
And Maryville was contesting for the longest time because they controlled the point, but eventually it flipped already. So now with only 10% to go, Maryville is going to have to run and rush towards this objective if they want to touch it. Ooh, Vision messed up the teleport. They teleported inside of the door. I think they didn't actually get that far. That's a big one.
Yeah, that means Tree has to go make the sacrificial play and use all the cooldowns to get to the point. Coalescence here from Maryville. They have to win this fight and keep it going, and Squid will grant them first blood. Annihilation out from False finds another, and Maryville are not going down that easy. The shield will end Iron's annihilation, and now False with the Nemesis form should be able to finish off that health bar.
Oh, Maryville keeps still alive, of course. Not last fight just yet, but it will be now. This will be the last fight that we get. Rocket has a Pulse Bomb, Lukewarm close to a Death Blossom. That's about it. Maryville is empty as empty can be. Vision and Juby are close-ish, about 50%, but that's as far away as Neb and Grapes are from their ultimates too. So this looking like a good, strong start for Fisher on this fight. As long as they can hit that Pulse Bomb, they're looking golden.
It is Rocket onto the objective. Looking for a target for that. Gonna have to do this without Neb and Lukewarm. 3v5 here favoring Maryville. Juby is low. There it is. The dash punch and the stick. False is down low. A kill out of that might be able to solidify this, but no. With Grapes falling, it is overwhelming odds. Maryville send us to Gardens.
They made a gamble. They said, you know what? Grapes and Rocket, they went to points. They were waiting. They were looking for the Pulse Bomb, but no one was there. Maryville did the same thing they did in Shambhala. They just rushed forward and said, we're going to get Fisher. Even if they cat the point behind us, we can get back in time to contest it if we need to. And they grabbed the aggression. They pulled a Fisher, I would almost say. That's kind of what it looked like. But they definitely took advantage of the 5v3, 5v4-ish fight in the corridor, and then just turned around, cleaned up the last few kills. But potentially the last point of this series, we could go to a map 7. It is very possible with these two teams against each other. Fisher Wisps looking for a continuation of their mace trap, but they're gonna they're actually gonna stick with it. Nope, they're not gonna stick with the Symmetra. Neither team is. But it's a slower exit for Fisher though.
As in Maryville calculated that because they've got to get Vision in position on this Reaper. If Lukewarm got in position first, it'd be really tough. Like a Squid just found out. Tough to find any room to work when Lukewarm is sitting here in the tea house. Rocket goes down, but Lukewarm with a nice little revenge there. Fisher started off strong here in our third sub-map of Lijiang Tower.
And currently, like the Lucios are just going to be rucking around the bridges, trying to find some way to boop someone off the map. So far, it hasn't happened, but they were definitely close a couple times. Of course, some
I mean, one boot from Grapes is like instant sound barrier.
Yeah, it's like it's crazy, right? It's just 55%. I don't know how he does it, but you know.
Maryville looping around through elevators. You can see Juby kind of going off on a bit of a mission. I think he's just looking to protect this. Like, yeah, it's just marking Grapes, knowing how aggressive they can be. The rest of Maryville moves on to this point. Vision already down low. Iron will punch them back into oblivion. Ravenous Vortex are trying to protect the disengage here from False. Fisher are relentless in pursuing. They're forced back. I think it was Tree moved back and touched the point, and Fisher have to acknowledge it.
Big moves here from Fisher, once again taking firm control of the objective. The old banks are charging for Maryville, though. Eventually, they're going to be able to take a proper fight. But Fisher is also in possession of a couple of check marks. Coalescence traits once again.
I was about to say, it would surprise me if Grapes uses the sound barrier now, and indeed it is. Advantage to Fisher. They need to find some kills on the back of this, though. The Cole from Squid was so accurate. Nobody died. Annihilation in from False. Tree looking to follow up on that and go into the back. But Lukewarm takes False down. The Annihilation is gone, and Lukewarm is still here with a charged railgun that finds Juby and finds Squid.
I was really waiting for Juby to use the sound barrier sort of in response to Grapes having already used theirs, but it just wasn't coming out. Maybe, I mean, it didn't take that long to charge. It was definitely ready at some point. But one fight stands between Fisher and the championship.
Tree going up the front line. Has been spotted. The rest of Maryville looping around to the back. Vision, Death Blossom, waiting to teleport through the window and see if they can possibly surprise Fisher on this. The timing is going to be just perfect. The front line of Maryville has already moved in. Vision is taking too long, trying to decide where to go, and Tree is already down. It's a 4v5 once again on this point. Soundbarrier finally invested from Juby, but they're frozen solid. Lukewarm takes him down. Death Blossom is in, but it only gets one. That's not going to be enough. Fisher have done it. All they got to do is finish off False. False goes down. Squid with the Coalescence, still on this point. Not able to survive. The Annihilation is there. Tree has to recall, though. Is there anybody else to touch? No! Fisher will silence the song of the Saints and blare their own through the speakers. That song is "We Are the Champions" as Fisher conquer Maryville in a 4-2 victory.
Another championship missed out by Maryville. They couldn't do it at homecoming. We thought maybe they have a little bit more time as a squad. They can pull it together and get the next one. But they can't find this one either. It was a fairly convincing...